At the end of divorce, I've talked to one client who says, "Oh, things are pretty good. It worked out okay." But no one ever feels like they came out fair. It never feels fair. You never feel like you came out on top.
Who are you being during this time is really important. I mean, you have to decide you're setting an example for your children. You're setting an example for how your relationship with your spouse is going to be moving forward.
Divorce can be emotionally and financially overwhelming. That's why I'm teaming up with Sunny Wishart, president and founder of A la Carte Financial and a certified financial planner. We will show you how to understand all things money without feeling ashamed, overwhelmed, embarrassed. You will learn more, ask questions. No question is a dumb question. Welcome to Money with Sunny. Let's get into it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Money with Sunny. Today, we're going to dive into dividing assets. And when you're transitioning through divorce, depending where you are in the process, separating all the assets is emotional, it's tiring, it's exhausting, it's complicated sometimes. There's a whole lot to it. Sunny works with women and men every day transitioning through divorce. And sometimes the division of assets can go on for so long that it's devastating to the family. It's devastating to the relationship of the parents that have to continue to have a relationship together. It's devastating to individual health, mental health, and well being. So, we're going to try to talk to you about how to divide assets, maybe shed some new light and perspective on how you can move through it a bit quicker. Sunny, you work with women, men every day, transitioning through divorce. What do you see as being the biggest problems when it comes to division of assets?
Division of assets is generally quite a simple concept until there's feelings and anger and all this stuff. So, here's what you own, here's what you owe during the marital date. But then I see a lot of stalling. So this is where one spouse comes in and says, I'm not making it that easy for you. Whether they're thinking that or not, they're doing it. So you don't know if they're not saying that. They're just thinking, I'm just going to do this because I'm going to make this as hard as possible because I want to hurt the other person. And how is it going to hurt the most? So I see people stuck and they can't move forward because one of the spouses is just slinging at it constantly. And I end up doing a lot of planning that either involves, okay, we need to move forward with how things are now because your spouse is stalling, expo. Or I'm with the one who is stalling and I'm having the conversation of, okay, you've come this far. What more is it you need to finish it? And you're starting to look pretty run down on this fight. No one wins. At the end of divorce, I've talked to one client who says, "Oh, things are pretty good. It worked out okay." But no one ever feels like they came out fair. It never feels fair. You never feel like you came out on top. So, where are you going to put the line in the sand and say, "Now I just need to go sleep at night and finish it," without doing yourself in? You got to stand up for yourself too, and don't give up. But where is that line? And so I have these very gentle conversations of, okay, you've come this far. What is it you're looking for? Like, we just look at the numbers. What is this going to cost you in legal fees to keep going back and forth in this? And how much is this something that you want or you need?
Hmm.
So I'm not going to tell you what's right and wrong, but I am going to walk you through what this looks like today. And if this keeps going, what that's going to look like.
Hmm. And the longer things take, and the longer you drag things on for, and there's no judgment here because this is a very difficult time in your life. So what you're doing is understandable. and what you're doing is normal, and if you're not wanting to make things easy to separate and divide assets in an easier kind of fashion, there's all kinds of reasons for that. But like Sunny mentioned, who are you being during this time is really important. I mean, you have to decide, you're setting an example for your children. You're setting an example for how your relationship with your spouse is going to be moving forward. And how do you want to look back on this transition in your life 5 years from now? And how are you going to feel proud about the way you handled things? So, division of assets, when you write things down on a piece of paper, it can be real clear and simple, as Sunny mentioned. But when you add feelings and emotions, that's when everything gets real complicated because I love this more and I need this more and I want this more and I care about this more and I've always done it this way. And why are we changing things now? And all that comes into play and into a big messy pot of complication and confusion and messiness, and that's life. So how can we help anyone listening to this conversation, Sunny? How can we help them to think about division of assets maybe more logically? How can we separate the emotion from this conversation? It's not possible to separate the emotion, but how can we try to separate the emotion just a little bit and at least see how it might make sense? If I was talking to someone as a friend and I was going to suggest to them how they might walk through this process, then I would be stepping away from the emotion. I'd be able to talk to them about that. How can we help all of our viewers get through this a little bit easier?
Think if yeah, you want to sit down and just kind of unpeel the onion, it's a good old needs versus wants exercise. And maybe, one column needs, one column wants. And this is like your rock bottom expectation of your outcome.
Mhm,
And this is the expectation of an ideal outcome. And
mhm,
having those two managed as firm numbers and working with those and then anywhere in between and kind of approaching it from that manner as opposed to just reactive to every time the lawyer brings up something or something gets sent back to you with another date or number or whatever and you're reacting. Just have the information. I know they put those lists together, needs, wants, like I'm going to be okay if I have this. I'll be better than okay if I have this kind of thing, or
mhm.
going to be it.
Yeah, and when I work with clients, we work through that exercise. What do you need? What do you want? And then what are you willing to be flexible on? What's a hell yeah? What's a hell no? And having this kind of conversation with yourself and a piece of lined paper and a pen is a good way to start. Instead of trying to think about it when you're sitting across a table from your lawyer and your husband's lawyer and your husband, and then everything's all blank or foggy or angry or sad or miserable, and you just can't think. So, yeah, this is good conversation to have with yourself. So, division of assets will involve all of the money, and it will involve division of house. So your home is an asset, and that's money. So who stays, who goes, do you sell it? So what are the largest assets that people need to consider? What should you be thinking about right now?
Always the home. Because generally, if you're in that stage, where your kids are still at home, that's always the conversation of what's the plan? What's the strategy for the house? I want to keep my kids in the house. And that tends to be the big one. If your kids have launched, like they're up and gone, people usually, just unload the home and start fresh.
Yeah.
Um, and that's no problem. But if your kids are still there and there's like school systems to think of and community and things like that, then it's like that's where it starts, where you have to really dig deep on what we're going to do with this house.
Can I afford to stay? Do I want to stay? What's best for myself and my family? Yeah, because I've worked with people who sell the family home. They have children, and mom goes to live somewhere, dad goes to live somewhere, and kids turn out to be just perfectly awesome. And kids are adaptable, and it's how you handle things as the parent. So, what are the stories that you're telling yourself and your kids? Are you saying, "Oh my God, I had to sell the home. This is devastating. This is brutal. It's the worst thing that's ever happened to me," or are you saying, wow, this is an adventure. We get to find a new place to live. You're going to have two homes now. Your daddy's going to have a home, mommy's going to have a home. Wow, this is great. I mean, it's all how you say it. And I know it's not all sunshine and roses and dark clouds and rain, but somewhere in the middle there's a story that you can tell yourself and your kids that can help your situation. Is there anything that I'm missing, Sunny, when you meet with people day to day? We've talked about the problems. We've talked about a solution, a needs and wants list. Is there any other solutions, anything else that we're missing here that can help our audience out when it comes to dividing the assets?
I think they have to have more conversations with people like you to have a little more understanding because I'll come from it totally from a numbers perspective. Lots of empathy comes from me, no problem. I'm listening, but I'm not equipped to tell them what to do other than these are the numbers and this is what we're going to do with those.
Hmm.
And then if they're stuck and they're not moving forward, they're going to need to have these more types of conversations of, maybe it's reframing or maybe it's this or that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And that comes down to, bringing the right who's into your corner. And it's always like that in life. And in a transition, a divorce transition, who do you need to bring into your corner to support you? A financial expert, a coach, an accountant, a lawyer, a fitness trainer, a yoga expert, a clergyman. Like, who do you need to bring into your corner to help you work through this process? Yeah, so that's part of it. Absolutely. Well, I hope that we have shed some light on the importance of division of assets and maybe thinking about not dragging it on for ever and ever and ever. Maybe, hey, there was a thumbs up there. Did you see that? Whoa. But division of assets is hard. It's emotional. And how can you work through the process as your best self? Thanks for being here today, and we will see you all again next week. This is awesome. Bye, everyone.